Red Bulls media availability. We're joined by Jochen, Schneider, and Julian Guzman. We will start with opening remarks from Jochen, and then we'll take questions after. Jochen, you have the floor.
Club, the energy they put into our team, into our club, every single day over the last 2 years. They raised the standards clearly around our first team. And they will always be remembered as the coaches, Sandro as the head coach, who was leading us through an incredible playoff round in 2024 with all these wins on the road and the first Eastern Conference Championship in club's history and second MLS Cup final in club's history. We were close to win the cup, but John McCarthy and the Post were standing in our way, so we had to accept, as sportsmen do, the defeat in LA. But this was an incredible run, and we only can say thank you to Sandro, to Volkan, and also to their wonderful families who had been and who will be great supporters of the New York Red Bulls. Please let me come to my situation. My plan and Red Bull's plan was that I stay for 1 more year until the end of 26, until my wife Annabella got the diagnosis mid of September of a brain tumor. And that changed everything, and well, it was just there's only one solution what to do in a situation like this, and that's why I had to make the decision to leave the club and to go back to Germany and to look after my wife and our 3 wonderful children, Carl, Pauline, and George. And this is the most important now for me. And nevertheless, I'm really grateful for the 3.5 years I had here. I think we changed a lot. We changed the culture of the club. We changed the communication. I think it was a difficult time for the club coming out of COVID, being disconnected by the rules, by the laws, and we overcame this situation. The sporting department has never been as aligned as it is right now. Communication never had been better. Academy is a clear priority. RB2 is a clear priority also because of this gentleman who built up an outstanding roster this year. And first team, second team, academy aligned, as I said before. That's wonderful. And we are perfectly connected. I want to say thank you to a few people, and please forgive me if it's a little bit too long, but this is the only chance I have to say thank you. I don't want to use that opportunity. In the first instance, I want to thank Oliver Mintzlaff, the CEO of Red Bull, and Marc de Grand Prix, our wonderful general manager here at the club, for their trust in me, for the belief in me, and that they made the decision to bring me back to the club. I was working from 15 to 17 already in the Red Bull global team, and I was working in those days closely together with the New York Red Bulls, so can't thank Oliver and Marc enough for that. Going back to 2015, I also want to use this opportunity to thank Mr. Mateschitz, Ralf Rangnick, and Oliver Mintzlaff once more to bring me to Red Bull. Red Bull is not only by far the best energy drink in the world, or the only one, it's also an amazing company, the best employer you can imagine, and by far the best organization in the world of sports on this planet, and I'm proud to say that I will be a Red Bull for a lifetime. I want to thank Dennis Hemlet, with whom I worked together at his time here as a sporting director, great human being, and I wish him nothing than the best for his next challenge now, next season in MLS Next Pro. And I want to thank Julian de Guzman, who is with me since 2 years. I will talk a little bit more about Julian in the next 2 minutes. I want to thank the 3 head coaches I was privileged to work together with. Sandro, I was talking with him. Troy Lesane, who did an incredible job leading us into the playoffs in 2023 when we had been out of the playoffs for 33 games, 93 minutes, and then we scored that final goal in the 94th minute and made it to the playoffs, and I wish also Troy all the best for his next chapter in MLS. He really deserves that. And I want to thank Gerhard Struber, who is doing an incredible job now at Bristol City in England. I want to thank the two RB2 coaches I was working together with. That's Ibrahim Sekaya and Michael Bradley, both of them amazing human beings, great coaches. And I can't thank them enough for the partnership we went through in the last 3.5 years. I want to thank also two gentlemen with whom I work closely together. That's Sam Goldberg, our head of player personnel. I always call him the brain at Red Bull training facilities because he's so much smarter than I am. And my assistant, Noah Gulden, who's working now with the Red Bull Soccer in Munich. I want to thank MLS, and I want to name the people I was working the closest together. That's Nelson Rodriguez, that's Paul Graver, that's Christina Labrie, and Sheffield Goose, and I want to thank them for their patience with me, because sometimes for us Europeans, MLS is quite a challenge. And I'm really grateful for all the conversations we had, and I wanted nothing than the best for the league. I also want to thank Bro, Mark Geiger, and Alan Kelly, and we had some conversations, but I know they're all doing their very best, and I have a lot of appreciation for the referees. And whenever we had not been in agreement with some decisions, that's life, that's sports. But in a moment like this, I always say to our guys, you should not forget what Jock Stein said, the former Glasgow Celtic and Scotland manager: score 3 goals and you take the ref out of the game. It's as simple, right, Julian? I want to thank all CSOs within MLS and for the cooperation over the last 3.5 years, but especially in the last 24 hours for their support for me and my family. Of course, I want to thank our fans. Without our fans, this game would not make any sense. Their loyalty, their support for us was incredible, will be incredible. So I thank all our fans, the Red members, and our supporter groups. And of course, I want to thank you, the journalists. Thank you for the cooperation. I'm really grateful that you did not call me as often as the journalists in Germany did, so thank you for that. Yeah, and that's it. Really happy about every single day. I was privileged to work for this club and privileged to live in this beautiful country, clearly number 2 in the world. So thank you all for that. And now I want to come to Julian de Guzman. I know him for a long time. When he played Bundesliga, he didn't know me in those days when he played for Hannover's 96. But when you look at his CV, at his history, it's impressive. When a young boy at the age of 16 is leaving Toronto, his home country, Canada, and going to Europe, and not going to any city, he's going to one of the toughest places, Marseille, to make it, to fulfill his dreams, and then going to Germany at the age of 18, fighting his way through second Bundesliga, going to La Liga, back to MLS, playing 87 games for Canada. And when I met him for the first time 2 years ago, I immediately knew this is the right guy. This is an amazing human being, a great leader on and off the pitch. And I'm just grateful for the 2 years we had together, and I could be not happier, prouder than to have him as my successor here at Red Bull New York as head of sport and CSO of the club. He will lead this club, the sporting department, into a wonderful future. I said before, academy doing great. RB2, I hope that we will bring some silverware to the club in 2 weeks, and the first team will bounce back, no doubt about that. Really excited to see what you, Julian, and what the team is doing, and want to wish him all the best. Thank you for the last 2 years, and good luck for the future.
Words, Jochen, and it has been, I would say, one of the most unexpected dreams to be working with a fine gentleman like this. You don't find individuals in the game as often as you do when you cross paths with Jochen Schneider, and being able to have the privilege and pleasure to learn and develop under him during my start here at Red Bull, and the years that I have spent with him. It has been extremely impressive to know these type of human beings exist, not just in sports, but in life in general. So for me, extremely proud of obviously this opportunity, but it has certainly been a roller coaster of emotions when you depart and move on from people you learn to grow with, you become friends with, you build relationships with, and it wasn't easy seeing Sandro go. It wasn't easy seeing Volkan go. It is not easy seeing Jochen leave as well. So these are the individuals we will continue to hold high, and my next steps in life and my career is to really represent them in a very high light and high standard as well. For me, this is a great opportunity and a great pleasure to sit in here as the head of sport for the Red Bulls. Extremely excited, determined, and looking forward to creating more greatness for this club. I've seen the potential it has. I've known about this club playing against them back in 2009 when we lost at Giant Stadium 5-0 TFC. I'll never forget this, but ever since then you learn so much more about Red Bull, and now being a part of this family, I know that greatness is everything, and this is exactly what I will bring to this group, not just on the field, but off the field. But I must say thank you to what Jochen has done, creating the pillars and the standards and the expectations that we need to see moving forward at this club while I sit in this position as a head of sports. So looking forward to this new journey in my life, and for me, just seeing the success that we have done and created since I've been here, making the finals of the MLS Cup, winning the trophy of the Eastern Conference finals as well. You could see the potential and the excitement that this club deserves, and there's more to come. And I'm very clear as to what we will see moving forward with a fresh beginning, I would say, but also a very important history that we will carry moving forward.
We'll now.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of work to do. Clearly, day 2 in the position, I certainly want to evaluate what does that sporting director position look like. There's nothing that needs to be decided at this moment. We clearly have a lot of great experts within the staff that have done a great job since I arrived here, and we want to continue to work with them. So that will stand as is, and we will have maybe a better decision down the road as to what that looks like regarding the sporting director position. As for the head coach, I mean, there's going to be a deep dive into what that candidate looks like, and we need to make sure this is somebody that fits the philosophy, the playing style, and also the expectations and the priorities of developing players as well. We want to succeed, and we want to do our due diligence when we come to that decision. Clearly a leader to lead the locker room, lead the players, lead the organization based on the philosophies and visions that I have for this club. I learned a lot. One, as a player; two, as a sporting director under Jochen, and today, I'm very, very certain that based on the philosophy that we want, the playing style, we will see different compared to what we've seen in the past 12 years based on the philosophy and styles that we've seen. And I think when you look at Red Bull in the past, we've been a very high intensity, energetic team, but I think we could add a lot more in terms of the playing style, bringing in players with footballing IQs. We want guys who could perform with excitement in the attack, and we want to play fun football where it allows us to succeed and win and develop players, and those are the things that this coach will certainly have moving forward. Yeah, I mean, collectively as a group, we have to certainly evaluate the performance and the outcome of the season. It has been a disappointing season if you really look at it from outside looking in, not making playoffs after 15 years of making playoffs. I think that should be a part of the Red Bull culture. We are a playoff team, and there's no other discussion around that, and that should be our starting point. I recall last year, the press conference that I saw Jochen present where, okay, we made playoffs and great, we can't just, call it that. We should now push ourselves to achieve more. So, the outcome of this season, we underachieved, and that's very clear. And it's I think it's also important to know that there will be a different look for sure, not just from a coaching standpoint, but from the player roster planning, and it's going to be a different look where it has to fit the philosophy and playing style that we want to see, or I want to see, going into next season. And it's not the old school Red Bull that we've been used to seeing for many years. Red Bull that I've played against as well. We could add more. We could add more flavor. We could add more style. We could add more creativity, especially in attack, and not so much dependent on just two DPs to convert goals for us. I think there's a lot more we could add to the roster. So the timing of bringing in a head coach, I think it makes a lot of sense, and we want to turn this chapter into connecting this club, New York Red Bulls, to the culture here in the US. You expect Lewis Morgan to be fit? No one's talking about a third DP. We had the idea that with Lewis Morgan, with Emil Forsberg, Choupo-Moting, we're talking about titles. And this was a gray area where we weren't sure, do we make the move on a DP? Do we wait for Lewis Morgan to come back? There was a lot of balancing acts, I would say, until we had to make a smart decision. And I think the smart decision was bringing in a replacement, for in the midfield. When you look at the Gustav Berggren filling in that midfield position, that brought more stability, more of a long-term idea as to what this could look like now with this new philosophy, and he suited that. When you're not prepared to bring in a DP, you don't want to rush into bringing just a DP, because that is a long-term decision that could impact the future of the club. Sure, there were names out there. I know Timo Werner was a fan favorite, but would he have been a player that made sense to Red Bull based on what we want to see, especially in the future? Probably not. So it was not waving the white flag saying that we were giving up. We strongly believe we had a playoff team. This is the team that on paper you could say should be in the playoffs. We just missed the targets, and especially on the road, it was clear that this team had lost touch in terms of performing and getting those gritty results like we showed last season. So I think that was probably a much more bigger highlight versus us waving the white flag.
Who will be able to fight for trophies in the upcoming years. And with all the support of our leadership team, I want to thank all our employees at front office, training facilities, the support of Jürgen Klopp and Mario Gomez and the Red Bull soccer team. We developed the club in a great way over the last 3.5 years, so I'm thankful for that. And to be honest, this is the post-season press conference of the New York Red Bulls, and honestly, I'm not in the mood to talk about any other MLS club. Hope for your understanding.
Cameron Harper, he has made some big improvements and leaps in his rehab. A couple of weeks ago, he just came back from the APC facility, and it was very positive to see where he's at in terms of his next steps. And the expectation would be January is to have him slowly integrate back with the team. Again, we don't want to rush him, and we know that he's going to be a valuable asset to the club, and based on his performance and what he could add, whether it's higher up the pitch or in the back line. But Cameron Harper is making positive progress. Absolutely. I'm seeing Lewis Morgan every day. You could see the smile grow more and more when he is getting closer to kicking the ball again. It's been certainly frustrating for him. I really feel for a player like Lewis, because he's gone through this already in 2023. The fire he has to come back onto the field is what he's shown in 2024. And this is the hope we have for him going into 2026. So we're being patient with him. Did we push him? For sure. I mean, we're going to push a guy like Lewis because we need him. But at the same time, this is a guy that's going to push himself to the limits, and we want to make sure we are careful with this offseason so he comes back fit. But everything is pointing in the right direction for Lewis, and he's making a really, really positive progress going into the last stretch of this year. They perform from some of the most exciting football I've seen in my time involved in football for the past 30 years. So it's fun. It's attractive. It's got creativity. It's got players who can play the game. It's got a bright future. Andy Rojas is a great example as to what the future looks like for Red Bull, and we need more of that. Rafa Mosquera, Noen Benedetti. I mean, these are the players that I've played with in my career, at the peaks of my career in La Liga, Bundesliga. I want that to translate here in New York, and we need that here for our first team. So the second team that we've seen this far, and hopefully they get to lift a trophy in the next couple of weeks, is the best example as to what my vision and philosophy looks like for the future of Red Bulls.